We're going to be going through the navigation menu here for the customer booking screens. Now we're in the customer booking screen now, and these are subordinate screens to the customer booking. Everything above here are normal, and these are lists, and we're going to go through those lists. So I'm going to go all through these. Let's start with the booking listing. The booking listing is a sequential record set of the current selection of records. In this case, there's 5 records in the database currently, and they're numbered 1 through 5 with a sequence number on them. If you wanted to do a find to find a specific record, you'd go up and click Search, start the search, and in this case you can put in an ID number like I could do. I could put number 1 in here. I can also add additional fields in there, but in this particular case there's only going to be one ID number 1. If I wanted to put a name or an address or a phone number or a service date or service type, for example, if I clicked on service type and typed it in there, or something like that, or a date where it pops down and I put in a date, or maybe even the city or a company or address. Now in some of these lists you're going to actually get drop downs that will allow you to assist in putting in information, but most of these fields are unique to the record. So what I want to do in this case, I'm going to go up and say do action, perform the find. It's going to flip back over and show the one record. Now you'll notice when that came up just momentarily, I go back and click the bullet, you'll be able to see that there are 5 total records, 4 are omitted, and 1 is in the found set, and this is record 1 of the found set. Now if I had more records in here, I could use the arrows to cycle back and forth between them. Now since there's only one record, I don't need to say show all or show omitted, but I can go back up here and I can say show all records from this, and they would come back again. So that's how you return the records to the current selection. Let's go to the next screen, and that is the booking UDF, and this is the portal record, and you can search in here by doing searches if you know what kind of information you're looking for. Now in the case of using the PDFs, you would go to either a title field or a data field, and you would be looking for a specific entry for all the records that are available within the selection. So for example, if I wanted to say pet breed number 1 and I put in there some kind of a breed, then it would be that one that I would be looking for. These are just default things I put in there just so you'd have some data to see it in the screen. But you could search, and then every record that has that in it, interestingly enough, if you clicked back in and went back to the list view, those records would be the ones that would be shown, that would show that those were the records. Otherwise, you would have to go back through and look at each individual thing, but I have a different way to do it. This is a nice workaround. Let's go down and look at the list view for UDFs. And if their current selection is these 3 and I do a find in here, then I can do the same thing and perform the find to show whatever record I'm looking for. And in this case, I could be looking for the booking ID or the pet ID information of whatever I want, and then it would show those in the selection. Especially if you have a lot of data sitting in here and you don't want to have to go scrolling to look through all those. And of course then you can go back to the UDF record by clicking at the green arrow at the end of the line. Let's go to the next one. In this case we're at the sales by date. Sales by date, in this particular one I've got a blank record in there. I know why that happened. There was a situation where I did not fill in any data, but if I wanted to go in there I could go ahead and do this and come into that record and then enter data if I wanted to update that particular record. Okay, let's go back to that screen. We're going back into the sales by date, and I'll explain what this does. In this particular record system, what happens if you have a date for a particular sales transaction for the booking, it'll be listed here. It'll tell you who the person is for the service date and their name. It'll go down here. Here's their name. It has the service date, service type, the booking date, the contact, and the type of pet that was serviced. And of course down here would be the products and services that were done and where they were at as far as the location. So that's one record. You can see a division line between each one of the records. If I wanted to see this record or do a find, I would do the find just like we did before. The only difference in doing a find right now in here is that if you do a find, when you come back to the screen, you're going to have to click the run report to return the headers that are at the top of the screen, which are these rows up here, to bring in this header information here. This is the actual record. This is the header. And this is, for example, if I had more things happen on Friday, March 22nd, then they would be listed here under Friday, March 22nd. and that would be what you would see in the records. And I don't see any in here right now that would fit that particular requirement as far as the way they should look for there. And you can see the active record has got a black bar at the edge of it. I was trying to scroll out so you can see that. So that's the active record we're looking at. If I click up here, it moves the active record up to the top. And I would try to delete it, but I'm not going to try to indicate that I would do something like that just to show you that. But you can see in this case it does show the drop down for the person for the name check, and of course you're going to see the thing for the date and the name for the actual record as part. You would type that in there as far as the name. In this case, there's no record data in there for that particular data. Okay, so let's go to the next thing, and these are the lists. And what the lists do, in this case, this is the billing notes. And these are the things that drop down and give you a sort of a status as far as the notes are concerned. For each one of these, you can add more if you want to. But as I stated earlier, if you add another one by saying do add a record, you do not want to add something that is there or close to it, or edit the one that is in there that is already in use, because you will confuse people if they see something once and then they don't see it anymore, or they see it change. So the best thing to do is add them, use them, and don't correct them. Let's go to the next very similar situation. In this case, it's the list bookings. And this is down at the bottom corner of the screen on the booking screen, where you have the people that were actually the ones that took in the information. For example, let's just do this. We're going to go say add a record. I'm going to go up to the top up here. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and say manager. And now that I've got manager and I click off and say done, it's going to add manager to the list. If I wanted to edit that, I could always click back on, say, like this one to edit it, or this one to edit it. So if you wanted assistant manager, you could edit it. You can also actually go up here and sweep this and then put assistant in it when you add a new record, so you don't have to type everything out. It's just a nice shortcut. Let's go back in here and say the last one, which is the tax rate. Now in this particular case, in your location where you're at, you would have maybe one or more tax rates, or you can have a combined tax rate where you have city and county. So you combine the two for city and county for one rate. In this case, there are 3 rates in here. And if you go up here and tap on this, you'll see that when you put in a rate, it can have up to 4 decimal places. And this was 11%. So say, for example, you had 11.5. You could put in an additional 0. Or if you needed more, you can put them in there. It will show them as 11% or 11.5, so that when you drop into the record and you add the tax rate, that's what's going to be used as far as the tax data. Let's go back to the list. You can see now, and I'm going to reflect back on what we just looked at. We came from the customer booking. We did the booking list view, booking UDF, the list view for the UDS, the sales report, the list of notes, and the booking by, and the tax rate. The next one we're going to go into in the next video is all the items for the pets products and services. Thank you.